In the autumn of 1993, a photographer named Simon Hale thought he was alone in the forest until something started walking in step with him. What started out as a quiet trip into nature quickly turned into something darker, something he couldn't explain. Though he didn't go looking for anything, something had found him. If you like scary stories, welcome. You've made it to the right place. We're so happy to have you. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel to follow along on this crazy, wild journey that we're going to be going on. And it would help me out a bunch if you give this video a like and you turn on that notification bell. That just lets my bosses up at YouTube know that, we've got a good thing going here. Simon Hale was a wildlife photographer based in London. He was very practical, the kind of guy who trusted in only what he could see through a lens, right? So like lights and angles, patterns in nature, that sort of thing was reality for Simon. He was the furthest thing from superstitious. That October, he traveled to Windsor Great Park in Berkshire. Word had spread that a herd of deer had been seen moving unusually close to an older stretch of forest, near a tree known as Hearn's Oak. Now, the people of that area had stories of this allegedly cursed tree and a figure said to haunt the woods around it. Simon heard the rumors. He didn't care. He was there to capture the seasonal light in the name of art and photography. And so he set out just before the dusk. The sky was soft, a warm golden, the forest quiet. But as he moved deeper into the trees, the quiet shifted. No birds, no breeze, not even the hum of a distant road, no, just silence. Dense and unnatural, heavily palpable, and then footsteps. Soft and steady, but the weirdest part is they were exactly in rhythm with his own. So every time he stopped, they stopped. And when he would move again, so did they. He scanned the trees and he called out. Nothing. Just that silence pressing in. Eventually, he reached a clearing, and that's when he saw it. A figure. It was tall and broad, just beyond the trees, completely still. It wore a long, torn cloak, and mounted on its head were antlers. Simon, being the natural-born photographer he was, instinctively reached for that camera and snapped a shot of the figure. It didn't move. It had no reaction whatsoever. Then, without making a sound, without shifting weight, just made one fluid pivot and faced Simon directly. And then, it was gone. Obviously shaken up by this, Simon didn't even know what to make of this interaction. He looked down at the camera to see what he had captured, and the figure appeared in the photo. But the weird part was that where its head should have been, there was only a blur. And it wasn't like a motion blur. It was like the camera didn't even know how to register what it had seen. Simon decided it was time to go, only to realize that he couldn't find his trail. Everything started to blend together and look the same, yet at the same time very distinctive, as if these weren't the exact same trees he had passed on the way to this spot. He went into a panic. He turned to his GPS, only for that to throw up a signal error at him, and the sun seemed to have started to vanish way faster than it should have. Then came the sound. Perhaps it was dogs? He wasn't quite sure. At first, it sounded like distant howling. Then it got louder. It sounded like barking. Whatever it was getting closer, fast. Simon started running. Branches clawed at him. The forest suddenly felt tighter, like it was intentionally closing in on him to trap him there. And behind him, hooves. Not light, skittish deer hooves. No, it was something heavier. It was thudding, following. And at one point, it sounded like he could hear breath behind him. And close. A little too close. And then lights. He had bursted out onto a ranger's road, all scratched up, bleeding, completely disoriented. And the worst part is his camera had actually shattered in the fall. And when it seemed like all hope was lost, in the distance, a savior in the form of a patrol truck came around. The ranger inside pulled over, and Simon got to tell him everything. The ranger sat there quietly and listened. And finally, he just said, "You're lucky it wasn't a full moon. He rides deeper then." In the end, Simon never published the photo. As a matter of fact, this may be the saddest part of this story, but he walked away from photography forever within a year. and he moved away to a quiet little village in Scotland, and he certainly never spoke of Windsor Forest ever again. So I guess that whole crazy trip was all for nothing. Until 2007, something resurfaced. A hiker posted a photo to an old forum. Just some trees at dusk at Windsor Park. Blurry, low contrast, nothing remarkable, truly. Until you look at it closely. Because just behind the trees, in the distance, there's a figure, almost lost in shadow. And on the outline of its head, looks like something's branching. Perhaps antlers. Herne the Hunter has been a part of English folklore for centuries. Some say he's the spirit of the forest. Others say he was cursed to roam it forever. Whatever Simon saw that evening, it followed him out. So, if you ever find yourself roaming the forest at Windsor Park at dusk, and something starts matching your footsteps, don't stop. And whatever you do, don't turn around.